Recent comments from the European Union raised concerns over the development of global accounting standards. I'm in the office of NAREIT Senior Vice President of Financial Standards, George Yungmann. So George, where does the development of international financial reporting standards stand currently?
We are still involved in a very, very long march. The Financial Accounting Standards Board and the International Accounting Standards Board are involved in several, over a half a dozen projects that will dramatically change accounting around the world. This includes financial statement presentation, which is really redesigning the basic financial statements. Lease accounting, which will have dramatic impacts on the way leases are accounted for by both lessors and lessees. Revenue recognition, which will affect just about every company in the world. So there are very, very big projects, and we are involved in a very long march to convergence.
What have been some of the roadblocks in the development of IFRS?
There are clearly political differences of opinion. Recently we heard the European Union wanting to have more control over standards. There are cultural differences. There's differences in opinion as to conceptual basis for various standards, and all that has to be addressed.
For U.S. REITs, what would be the biggest impact of going with IFRS?
The largest impact would be the possibility, probably the choice, to report investment property at fair value. There's an international standard that allows real estate companies to report investment property at either cost or fair value, and we understand that the great majority of real estate companies who report under IFRS are choosing to report at fair value.
And what about REIT shareholders? What would be the biggest change that they might notice?
The REIT shareholder would look at a balance sheet of a real estate company, those that choose to report investment properties at fair value, and the shareholder's equity amount would reflect that fair value, and therefore the reported shareholder's equity amount would be very close to what we see now as an analyst view of net asset value of a company.
And George, you mentioned that we're at the start of a very long march. So do you have any timetable as to when we may cross the finish line?
I want to differentiate between convergence and adoption. We hear a lot of discussion about the SEC adopting IFRS. They could adopt IFRS in 2015 or 2018 or 3000. In the meantime, the FASB and IASB will be developing standards that will become IFRS and US GAAP. And therefore, as convergence occurs year by year, year after year, we will experience significant changes to our financial reporting.
Thank you, George. For REIT.com, I'm Matt Bichardt.